Well, I want to say good day to all my family and friends, whether you're near or far. This is Raymond Settles, and I'm coming again today with your motivational moment. Today's motivational moment is given to us by Mr. Fred DeVito, who's a fitness expert, an author, speaker, spokesperson in regards to fitness, nutrition, the mind-body connection, and wellness and balance in life. And what Mr. DeVito said is, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Now, because he is a co-creator of the Core Fusion program, and he is a teacher of sport and cardio classes, and he does retreats and workshops across the country, he actually has to train people to work their bodies, train them to cause their bodies to do something different than what they have been doing, than what they're used to doing. In some instances, what they want to do with their bodies. And this calls for him to not only reach deep within himself, but how to show and train other people to reach deep and then go even deeper within themselves to see what they're fully capable of doing. And that does go against the nature of people. A lot of times we want to keep doing what we always have been doing. But I tell you that when you realize how much more you're capable of, it causes a change within you. It teaches you that you're capable of doing more than what you expect of yourself. Now, Mr. DeVito lived this life as he was formerly a public school teacher, a fitness teacher for over 32 years, including having his degrees in physical education and health and having the personal trainer certification from ACE. So in order for him to do all these things, be a writer, be a teacher, be a trainer, be a spokesperson, that means that he's quite confident and quite comfortable with the concept of being challenged and knowing that that challenge is going to change him. And what we see is that when change comes from the result of being challenged, it makes us all the better. Mr. DeVito's words show us that we shouldn't run from change. We shouldn't try to hide from the challenge, because once we accept the challenge, once we embrace the challenge, we're going to see the change as a result, which is only going to make us better individuals. We cannot go through life being the same person from birth unto death. There's a series of challenges and changes that are due to happen. The question is, are you going to embrace that? Or are you going to try and run from it? Are you going to realize it's going to happen? Or are you going to try and keep and prevent it from happening? The lack of change is a lack of growth. And if there's no growth, then life becomes that much more difficult for all involved. When I look on the life of the man named Moses, a man who was a pillar of multiple religions, the Christian faith, the Judaism faith, the faith of Islam, we see a man who lived through multiple major challenges in his life. And they helped shape and mold him into being the man that he has become. To whereas billions of people around the world all have a certain level of admiration for Moses. But you have to look at the challenges that made him into the man that he became. At the time of his birth, there was a death warrant against all Hebrew baby boys. And as a result, his mother hid him in a basket, put him into the river, and he was then found by the daughter of Pharaoh. So he was actually raised in the house of the Pharaoh, who was the king of Egypt and the most powerful man in the known world. That challenge changed his entire destiny. And then you see the challenge where, as he grew up, he has witnessed an Egyptian being unfair and physically abusive to a Hebrew slave, and Moses stepped in and rescued that slave from that Egyptian master. But because he rescued him, he also killed the Egyptian and caused him to go on the run. Living as a fugitive, he was then, the third time he was challenged, he saw a bush that was burning but did not burn up. And so he went to go investigate that bush and see why it hadn't burned up, and he was called into action by God Almighty. And then we have the fourth challenge that most of us are familiar with, where Moses is at the banks of the Red Sea. He's got mountains on both of his sides. He's got an Egyptian army behind him. He's leading hundreds of thousands of former slaves, and he's challenged to how to get out of this situation. He calls on his God, and God miraculously delivers them by opening up and parting the Red Sea and allowing them to escape the Egyptian army. And let me say that that challenge and those other challenges changed and shaped him into being the man that he is. And what God does is God allows challenges to come into our lives because those challenges do lead to change in our lives. The way it works, and I'm not trying to sound like Master Yoda when I say this, but what challenge does is challenge leads us to trust in God. Trust in God leads to faith. Faith leads to an internal change. An internal change leads to an external exhibition. And so when people see that external exhibition of that internal change that comes as a result of the faith, which came after you learned to trust in God because you were challenged, people will say, "What's different about you? Something has changed with you." And let me tell you, there is nothing wrong with change. Too many times people look at change as a negative thing. Let me tell you, change is positive. Some people think that we are stationary, sedentary creatures where nothing changes, where everything is as it's always going to be. Well, let me tell you, that's not how life works. Things do not stay the same in just about any area of life. If you just think back to how it was when we were growing up, we were entering school around age 5 in kindergarten. And then we graduate from the minimum level of education in 12th grade. And throughout those many years, you have different changes that come your way. Academic challenges come your way and it changes you. Physiological challenges come your way and it changes you. Mental challenges come your way and it changes you. And so we are shaped and we grow as a result of those challenges that we face throughout those formative years. It's called change. We're not the same people that we were at 5 than we are at 17 or 18 when we're graduating from high school. It simply does not work like that. Because if you come across an 18-year-old who has the mind of a 5-year-old, everyone will wonder what is not right or what is wrong about that person. So challenge comes our way in life, and it only brings about changes for us, and most times they are for the better. So let me say this: when we walk this earth as individuals, mature, grown, adult individuals, challenge will await us on a daily basis. Now sometimes those challenges are in the form of trying to make ends meet and figuring out how you're going to make $1 out of 15 cents. Sometimes the challenge comes to get us to figure out how can we lose that last 10, that last 15 pounds. We've been diligent, but those last 10 can be real stubborn. Sometimes the challenge is simply to finish a class or to finish up that degree that we've been working on for so long and it seems like it's never going to happen. Sometimes the challenge is something as simple as reading a certain book or rearranging a certain room. And in these different challenges, all they do are make us more focused individuals. They make us better individuals. They make us people different than what we were when we started the process. Let me tell you, no matter what the challenge is, embrace it. Look forward to it. Expect it. And then allow it to do its set work in your life. As the challenge in your life will lead a change to your life that's going to make you a better person throughout your life. If you think about the caterpillar, it has to go through a process where it goes into a chrysalis and it shuts it off in order for a change process to take place. And you may be asking, well, where's the challenge there? That's understandable. You see, when the butterfly cracks open the chrysalis and struggles to emerge in its new form, the struggle that it's going through causes it to pump the fluid that was needed in its development of the chrysalis to make it become a butterfly into its wings. And the butterfly's struggle to push its way through that tiny opening in the chrysalis pushes the fluid out of its body and into the wings. So without the struggle, without the challenge, the change that completes it from caterpillar to butterfly would not ever take place, and the butterfly would never ever be able to fly. That butterfly needs the challenge to complete its change and allow it to become all that it's fully capable of becoming. We need challenges in our lives to get us to the point of change, to let us be fully the people we're supposed to be in life, God uses challenges to cause us to change. So again, let me tell you, do not fight challenge. Embrace it. It's only going to cause you to change and be a more well-rounded, a more developed individual. Lastly, you can just look at a piece of coal. A piece of coal, while it goes through a pressurizing process, it gets reshaped and reformatted into a diamond. Now, if this simply stays a coal, which has some use, it's not a bad thing. It can still be used for burning, for cooking and methods and things of that nature. But would you rather have a very transient item such as a lump of coal, or would you rather, over time, allow it to become a diamond which has an eternal value? Well, that's how life works. Life, you can stay the way you are, and you will be of use and of some value, but if you allow the pressure of change and challenge to go to work in your life, it'll reshape you and cause you to become the very best version of who you can be, which will allow you to have value that goes beyond just that of a few mere moments into something of more lasting quality. So I hope that you got something out of this, because this is Raymond Souls and this has been your motivational moment. I need you and I want you. I hope that my thoughts are for you to go out and recognize that you're going to be challenged today, but embrace it and allow that change to take place that's going to make you the best version of yourself. Have a wonderful day, people.